Okay, this video we will continue on the beginner's guide to Gosu in the Ruby language. This is video number 2 in this series, so if you're just starting out with this one, you will need to go to github.com, Programming Rainbow, Beginner's Guide to Gosu in Ruby, and you will need to clone that repository and move inside that directory. If you are doing that, you will need to take the code that's in the video 1 folder, which will be one of these main.rb files, and you'll need to copy that onto the top level for us to work with. So I do want to take a moment to discuss a couple things that I may have glossed over or not talked about in the last video. One is this close. I think I've covered this, but close is let's go look at it real quick. It's an instant method of window. Just looking through the thing here, close. Yeah, this is an instant method. So this is just basically closing our system down, but I just wanted to let you know what that was. That is part of the class that we're using. And again, it would be like this, but in Ruby, you have the option to not put the parentheses in place. So that's why it looks like that. Since I have there's nothing I'm passing into it, I've just left them off. So down here, I don't know if I explained this one or not, but since we've created this class, we've defined this class up here, this subclass of the Gosu window class. Our subclass is named game. Since we've done that, I'm just going to comment this out for a second. And what we are actually doing down here is we are creating an instance of this, and we can call it game with a lowercase g. So that's a variable that I'm creating right now. And I could say that's equal to game.new. And that will actually be this parentheses as well, but they're again optional. So if I have game.new, that gives us the actual instance of this game. So this is like the recipe for, say, a cookie or something, and then this small g game here, or I could say my game or anything. This is an actual, like we've actually baked a cookie from our recipe. This is the actual instance of it. And so this is saying we want a new instance of this class, and here it is. And then the way we would run that, and it's another method on the window, is the show method. I'm just going to show that real quick. It should be like this. There we go. So this show method, and this is in the window. If I were in the Ruby Gosu, and I would go to the Ruby reference, that's what I'm looking at here, not that one. This one is the Ruby reference, and I'm in the window class. And this show is basically what it's doing is it enters a game loop. It basically runs the game. So this is saying our class has basically created a window, and it's looking for this update, and it's looking for this draw method and all that. And the show is a way to actually make the game show. So we've created a new instance of this game. So then I would do something like my game, and I would say .show, and it's a method. So that's what we're doing here. We're making an instance. We're making a new instance of the game. We're holding it in here, and then we're showing it. We don't need to do all this. We could just since we can actually just call a new instance on it, and we can immediately call a show on that new instance, and we don't even need to save it as a variable. So we could do this. So we could do that. And that says I want a new instance of this game, and I want to show it immediately. And I'm not actually going to hold the instance in a variable at all. And then we can remove the parentheses because those are optional in Ruby, and then we get down to what we have down here. So if that didn't make sense before, I didn't really explain it. It is part of the Ruby language, but basically the new is running the constructor and giving us a new instance of this object. And show is the Gosu window internal thing to say, hey, start this game up now. So that is equivalent to this code down here. They're the exact same. Again, if we do that, I'll just run it and show you that it runs like that. We are on the top level. Let's see here. I was doing some other stuff. Okay. So it still works no matter how that we write it. Those all of those versions will work. So this simplified version, you will see this in the documentation a lot, but imagine that this basically is saying I need a new instance and then I'm going to run that new instance, but I don't actually need to hold it anywhere because when the instance is done, the whole game is done. So I don't need to hold on to it. And let's see what else. These up here is not really part of Gosu specifically. They're just a way for me to put information up here. They're a way for me to put those global constants up there so I can quickly change them if I want. You could just as well put 800 here, 600 here, and put open and close in parentheses here, or in quotations here. They're not specific to Gosu. That's just me holding constants up there. Okay, so this video, I want to load an image, display an image, and I also want to change the colors of the background, and we will talk about the window icon. So let's go back here. To load an image, we will be using image new. We'll be using the image. So right here, we're going to click on image, and we're going to look at the constructor. Here we go. The constructor, the simple one, is basically I need a source, which is going to be the file that I need, and some options. And the options are optional. And we don't actually need to use any of them for this. We're going to use the entire image. So we just actually need to say just the image. So this is going to be, this is the constructor. So this is the, when you do new, this is what you get. So what we're going to do is we're going to have Gosu : image, because we're in the image class, and we're going to be doing new on that. And we need to pass in for the source, our source image. And I'm going to hold this inside of a instance variable for the class. And this will be done inside the constructor of the class as well. So I'm going to make an instance variable called background. So the way to do that is use I believe it's the @ symbol. I think that's what that's called, @. And it's going to be background. And this just means this is a variable that belongs to the instance of this class. So if I were to make this class 10 times, each one of those instances of this class will have their own variable named background that is specific to that instance. You can have something called a class variable as well with double @. But this one is the one we're going to be using every time. It means it's a variable that belongs in this class, in the instance of this class. So we will run the constructor. So this is Gosu, and it's the image class. And we're running the constructor, so we need new. Let me just tab this back in. I believe I forgot to let me just fix the space width. I'm going to set it to 4. I don't like it set at 2. There we go. Okay, so we're running Gosu new, but we need the actual image here. So let's look at the images. Okay, the image we want is background, and it's just called background.png. So we do need to make sure that we use a relative path to the file that we're looking for. So imagine that we are running everything in this top level directory. So we need what's inside the images folder, and then the file name is background.png. And this will be in quotations. So images, background.png. And again, we don't need any options. We just want to load this image, and we want it stored in this variable called background. So that's going to be enough for that. To display the image, so on the image, we have its own draw method. And we can put where we want it to be in scale and everything else. But for the background image, I don't think that we need to put anything. We can just put the X and the Y Top left corner. Yeah. I think we just need X and Y. We can even try it without and see what happens, but I believe we need X and Y, and the rest of them are going to be optional, which for us, we just want to draw the whole image, and we just want it at 0, 0 in the top left-hand corner. So since this is an object, this background right here, we can just tell it to draw itself. So if we go down here to draw, we can say background. We always need to put that at symbol in front. And we can say dot draw. And I'm going to try 0, 0. I think that the 0, 0 is required and everything else is optional. Okay, so let's just try that. Okay, we have Gosu up on our screen. Now the black that you see around this image that we just loaded is 800 wide by 600 tall, and all of this is transparent. This is a PNG image. This has an alpha channel. So everything you see around it that's black is transparent, and this is the actual image. That means that we are actually looking at the render still that's black, and we can change the color of what's behind this image, and we are going to do that. But I do want to try just leaving out the zeros because it didn't really specify that we must put the X and the Y in. So let's try that real quick. I think that they are required though. It might allow you to just do it. Yep, they are required. So since this image is the entire size of the window, it's going to be 0, 0 for this one. Okay, so the other thing I want to do is actually change that black background to different colors. And we can do this by, there's not a really way to set the renderer color that's black, but what we could do is we could just draw a rectangle, a filled colored rectangle behind the background image. So to do that, if we go into here, is it in? I think it's in just Gosu, the top level. I'm gonna just look for rect. Okay, draw a rectangle. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. So this is just top level, and this is just a method for Gosu. It's just a class method of Gosu. So we have draw rect, we have an X and a Y, we have a width and height, and we have a color. The rest of these are optional. So this C right here is a color. That's what I'm not sure if it says it right here about the C. Can we click on this? The parameters, we got the X, Y, width, height, Gosu color. Okay. So those are what we're going to need, because basically we want to make a rectangle that's the size of the screen, and we want to fill it with a color to be able to change the background color, basically. So this is just a method. It's just a Gosu method. So it's not a class. So it's not. We're not going to be using the double colons. We're just going to be using a dot on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw this behind the background. So when we draw everything in games, whatever's first is in the back, and whatever comes after that, whatever's written after it, lower, 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 is what's drawn in front of it. So if I want to draw something behind this image, I want to put it above it. So this is going to be Gosu, and then it's going to be dot, and it's draw rectangle. Okay, and we want it again to start at 0, 0 in the top left-hand corner. That's the origin of the screen. Is 0, 0 is up here, and your width, whatever your width of your screen is here, and the height is down here. So your rectangle is from 0, 0 to width and height. And so we're going to start with that 0, and then 0. And now we need the window width and the window height. And that's going to be in window. And I believe we just have a width and a height. Yep, here's width. And this is going to get the window's width, and there's going to be a height one that's the exact same. So we can just do that since we are already in a class that is that is a subclass of window, we could just say self on it, and that's going to be fine. So I'm going to say self dot width, and I could do this here, but I'm not going to. But just understand that it is a method I'm calling. Self dot width, self dot height. Just fix that screen right there. And then we do need a color, so we haven't set that up yet. Because if we just do this, we have a rectangle. I'm not even sure that works, but our target is to make a color. So let's go look at the color real quick. And I was playing around with this quite a bit before recording this because I was a bit confused. Basically, there's many things are defined in Gosu, Ruby and Gosu that still work, but they're not defined in the documentation here because they might possibly be deprecated or they might be older versions of them. And I was kind of running into that. So color, and we're looking for the constructor. So here it is, and there's two different versions. And basically it's an alpha RGB. So it's alpha channel, red channel, green channel, blue channel for our constructor. Now, I had actually just 3 in here. So that's a bit confusing because you would think it's alpha channel, red channel, green channel. And what was going on is there's actually another, you can actually just put 3 in here, but it's not documented. So we're not going to do that because since it's not documented, it's probably something that still works because of old code that they haven't removed yet, but they are not showing you it. So we don't want to do it. So we are going to use this one right here. And what we're going to do is each one of these colors can be in the range from 0 to 255. So we're just going to put a default, since it's already black, we're going to put it in as black as default, but we're going to set the alpha channel to 255 so that we can see the black rectangle. And then we will be changing the color of it. So, or we can set it to anything we want right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to create this color, and we're going to use it as a variable that we're going to pass into the draw rectangle. So this is inside of the color class. So this would be color new, and I'm going to use this version, not this version. I'm going to use this one just for simplicity. And again, they could be from 0 to 255, each one of them. So I'm going to make a background color. I'm just going to call it BG color. And that's going to equal Gosu. This one's color. New. So if I wanted the old method that's not documented, I could do this. And now this will give me a black color that is actually not transparent. So the alpha channel is not here. The alpha channel will be set to 255 by default, but they didn't document that. So what I'm going to do is do the one that should be there. And this will give us a black rectangle that we can see. Now, we already know it's black, so why don't we make it like darker blue or something? I'll make it dark blue, so I'll put it at 64 here. So red channel will be off, green channel will be off, and blue channel will be on 64. Or we could even mix it, make it a little blue-green. Or make it a little more blue than green. Nah, I'll just do it blue-green is fine. So we have this color here that we're creating the instance of, and now we can use it down here in our last parameter that we're passing here. Okay, now we'll give that a try. Okay, yeah, we got this background that's kind of this greenish blue color. Okay, so that is us creating a color, and we're drawing that color by basically drawing a filled rectangle, and it's behind the image. It's because it's above it, so it's drawing behind it. So I kind of want us to be able to use random colors. So let's look at the Ruby random colors. So we can use without without importing anything or requiring anything, we have access to random numbers right out of the box in Ruby. So the one we want is this one, yeah. So if we just use rand without any parameters passed to it, we're going to get a decimal number between 0 and 1. And that's not what we want. We want something between, we want a integer, not a floating point number. And we want it between 0 and 255, not 0 and 1. But if we use the rand with an actual integer that is bigger than 0 as its argument, then rand will switch into a different mode where it'll actually give us integers from 0 to the number we've chosen, but not including the number we've chosen. So it says when max is in range, rand returns a random number where no, that's not the one. It's up here. Sorry, it's above what it's showing. When max absolute is greater or equal to 1, that means it's not 0. Rand returns a pseudo-random integer greater than or equal to 0 and less than the number that you've given. So if we need a number going from 0 to 255, because that is the color range that we are working with, then we need to use rand, and we'll put in 256 because it will not include 256. It'll be from 0 to 255. So that's built right into Ruby. And in our color class, we can actually set each of the channels separately. Here we go. We have our alpha channel, we have our blue channel, we have a green channel, and we have a red channel. So we can set these individually after we've created it. So we'll be setting those with the random number. So I'm going to make a new method underneath the draw here. And I'm going to call it rand color. And what I want to do is I want to mutate this background color variable that I have. So we got the BG color, and I'm going to use the red. I want to mutate the red channel. I'm going to say equal rand 256. So that's going to give me a number between 0 and 255 and store it in the red channel. And we'll do the same for each of the channels. Okay, so that gives us, that should make a random color by randomizing the red, the green, and the blue channels. And we need an end on this. Now we need to call this somewhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this to the space bar. So up here where we're using the, we're checking if escape was pressed and we're telling it to close. We could put another when up here. And this is another thing I came across, is I came across, say, space and escape being done like this. Okay, but I couldn't find it documented either. And the reason why is this is an older version, and this has been gone for like 10 years, but it still works in the code. So I think they're trying to not break old games, but this is not the way that you're supposed to be doing it now. So we're not going to do that. We're going to do it the way that it's said on the website, and we'll say space. And I'm getting these from, if you just click on Gosu up here, these right here, there'll be a KB space. Let's find it. Yeah, here we go, KB space. So that is space, and what we want to do is we want to call our rand color. And again, we could do that, or we could leave it off. It's Ruby, you can do it either way. So let's see if that is doing what we hope it does. Yeah, okay. So I want to set the initial color back to black, and then I want to also make sure that we are getting random colors each time, because the Ruby random number generator is not supposed to need to be seeded. So we'll check to see, just to make sure that it doesn't need to be seeded. But I'm going to put the black back here again. And then let's look at the first three colors. So we have light green. It's like a medium bluish green or something, a light blue green, and a more blue, still a little bit blue green. So it's all kind of from green to a bluish green. And let's try it again. Well, that's a kind of a yellowish green, and that's red. Yeah, those are not the same colors. Not the same colors. Yeah. So it doesn't look like we need to seed the random number generator. We can just start using it. That's fine. So normally I would also include in this video how to set the window icon color. Sorry, not the window icon color, but the window icon itself. Even though I'm in a tiling window manager, I still think that you should be able to set it. For people who are in floating window managers or other desktops, you should be able to set the icon. So if you're making a game, you can use the icon that you want to use in the game. The problem with Gosu is, out of all the 2D game libraries that I've ever used, Gosu is the only one that does not allow you to do this. And as far as I understand, under the hood, this is using SDL2. I'm pretty sure it's using SDL2 under the hood. Gosu is. Could be using something else, but it doesn't really matter. People have raised this with is it over here? Let's see. Not spell that right. There is a C++ variant, but I'm not using that one. But this is for both of them. And I just cannot understand for the life of me why they have not implemented this. But you'll see a couple people asking the question, X Windows application icon, and the answer back from one of these questions is simply, like in Mac, we don't need it, so I'm not going to do it. And not everybody's going to be using Mac, and I think that you still can have an icon in Mac. I'm not 100% sure on that, but it just seems very bizarre. So I think if you are making games in Ruby and Gosu, that you should go to github.com Gosu/Gosu, and you should make a request for them to add the icon, because if they are using SDL under the hood, there is no reason that they can't set an icon. I believe that it is SDL under the hood. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that this is just a Ruby wrapper around SDL2. But regardless of whatever it is, it's inexcusable for them to not have an icon that you can set for your game. So again, normally I would show you how to do that right now, but there is no way. And this has been the way that I have been testing AI for the last year. Is my one question is how do you set an icon in Ruby and Gosu? And it would just give me some nonsense answer every time. It'd start showing me code, how to set it and everything else, and it would tell me where it got the reference in the books, and it was just lying. Every one of the AIs would just lie about it. So that was my go-to question to ask. Now, I asked it today again, and Microsoft's Copilot, ChatGPT 4 Copilot, Bing Chat, whatever you want to call it, actually answered the question correctly today, that there is not an internal way to set the window icon. I also tried it with Google's Gemini/Bard, and it almost got it right, and then started giving me some nonsense code. And I have asked Claude as well, and Claude gave me references to books that don't exist and showed me how to do it, and it's all nonsense. It's not real. So it's beyond me why they haven't implemented this. This has got to be just one line of code to implement this, and they just don't feel like doing it, and I don't know why. So, and maybe nobody uses it. I don't know. So if you want that, you should definitely go to this site and open up a new issue and say, where is my window icon? And that's from a person that's not even using window icons. I don't even have window icons. But it doesn't mean I would try to make everybody else not be able to use them. Okay, so let's change this up here. This should be background and colors. See if we forgot anything. We have another one there. Yeah, I think we got everything. So I hope I showed how to, the documentation can be a little bit, the initialize is really .new, when you get used to looking at it, it becomes easier to read, but right away, the symbols that they're using, like this fat arrow, that's not even part of the Ruby language. This pound sign, that's not part of the Ruby language, but it's just how they write their documentation. So after you start seeing it a couple times, it becomes okay to kind of understand what's going on. But I hope I explained that. So you're always looking for an initialize when you want a class instance of something, the color or an image or even the window. And yeah, so we have the color that we worked on today. We'll just walk through it. We have a new instance of a image, and we're loading the background image. We're holding it in this instance variable, and we have a new color that we're just creating black, but we're making it opaque so that we can see it. Because if we make this 0, when we go to change the color, I'll show you real quick. You won't see it because it'll be invisible. The rectangle, the color will be changing. I'm pressing space. The color's changing, but we actually don't see the rectangle at all. Or if I put it at halfway, we'd only see half of it. Say 127. Oops. So it's always kind of a darker style color because we're seeing 50% of the black coming through. So yeah, the first number, do make sure that this is set to 255 so it's opaque so that you can see the rectangle that you're making. So we've made the background and the color. We are drawing the rectangle behind the background so that we can change the parts of the background that are see-through so we can see those colors coming through. But we're not drawing on top of the background image. And then we have this new spacebar function right here that is just using the built-in Ruby language to give us a number between 0 and 255. And we're changing the color individually for the red channel, the green channel, the blue channel. We're not messing with the alpha channel. And I hope I explained how this new .show is working with this instance and then running the game right away off the new instance. Okay, that's going to be it for this one. I hope you enjoyed that. And okay, so thank you for watching. Bye.